When everything else fails, this malnutrition ward, the only one in what is Somaliland's only referral hospital, is the last hope for children like Abdurrahman. He has kwashiorkor, a classic symptom of severe malnutrition. He's 18 months old and yet he weighs 5 kilos. In the next door bed is Hamza. He's 2 years old. He should weigh 12 kilos. He barely weighs 8. There are stories like theirs wherever you look in this ward. In fact, it is completely full. So much so that doctors have had to move children malnourished because of the severe drought into other general wards. The exhausted mothers have had to travel hundreds of miles from remote regions and spend their last meager resources just to get to this hospital in the capital. There was nothing else. And this is a warning, isn't it, of what is to come if there isn't a response?
I think it's better that there is a response before it is too late. So I will say this is the warning, so we need an action.
That means emergency nutrition and water. A little has arrived from Turkey, Gulf countries, even neighbouring Ethiopia has trucked some supplies in, but no large-scale Western supplies have yet come. We set off at dawn into the remote interior of Somaliland, to the most affected areas, to find out the root causes of this crisis. Even for a land that's no stranger to severe droughts, this is the worst for nearly 2 centuries. Wherever we went, we found the carcasses of dead animals. 1.5 million people, like Guled, half Somaliland's population are nomads and rely on livestock. Out of 18 million animals, a staggering 10 million have been lost to the drought. He has lost 400 sheep alone. It's reached a stage, he said, where without assistance I just don't see how people are going to survive. Our world will simply be gone. Yet this is not the result of war or upheaval. This is a natural catastrophe. Where once there would be a 10-year gap between droughts, the rains have failed for 3 consecutive years. We crossed half a dozen large rivers which should be full of rainwater but are completely dry, as camels, the toughest survivors in desert conditions, wander in search of pasture and water. It's forced whole communities to go in search of relief. Settlements spring up in the middle of nowhere. They walk from place to place where local Somaliland officials have trucked water or dug small temporary wells. Everyone is waiting for crucial rains due within weeks. But if emergency relief workers don't get to them soon, they'll move again. If the crucial rains in the coming weeks do fail, it'll mean that communities like this will lose hope and that they will just disperse and head back into the hinterland. If that does happen, it'll mean that getting international aid to them will be difficult, if not impossible. Ilhan Mohammed is a member of Somaliland's Drought Coordination Committee. She's travelled extensively through this Far Eastern region, mapping these settlements. If the international community doesn't mobilize quickly enough and in a large enough capacity, what will be the consequences?
So far we lost the livestock. We have not lost a lot of people yet. But we reach in that moment, you will see a lot of people dying because of, we could not provide the food or what they need.
International agencies are just beginning to step up their response to what's unfolding in Somaliland. They face the challenge of suddenly having to transform their presence here from being focused on long-term development to immediate, desperately needed relief. If they don't, and the rains fail, it would lead to one thing and one thing only.